When Acura announced they were bringing back the Integra after a long hiatus, gearheads rejoiced. After years of this fabled nameplate being diluted into the forgettable ILX, a reborn Integra was very exciting. But when the new Integra landed in 2023, it was, well, kind of uninspired. You know what's not uninspired? The 2024 Acura Integra Type S. Here is a car that lives up to the legacy of its name. A car that picks up where the Integra Type R left off. A car that goes from uninspired to unbelievable thanks to a little help from its, shall we say, less mature Civic brother. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of this spectacular new Integra, would you be so kind as to click the subscribe button below? The folks here at the Empty Garage thank you. Now, one other order of business. Don't take the immature Civic Type R comment too hard. It's a car that is truly amazing and one that any enthusiast would drool over. Plus, the Integra Type S wouldn't exist without the Type R's chassis and powertrain. But what if giant basket handle rear spoilers aren't your thing, and you like your bulging body panels to be free of vents and airfoils? What can I say? I'm a 40-year-old dad that still walks into trees when I see a cool car like the Type R. But when I see the Integra Type S, my jaw is on the floor while I'm face planting into that tree. I mean, just look at the thing. In profile, those punched up fenders and 19-inch wheels really accentuate the fast back profile of the Integra. Finished in tiger eye pearl, it's a knockout. Now, if Acura could just grab a bucket of Phantom Violet paint from the RDX and spray it onto the Type S, I'd have no choice but to buy one today. Speaking of wheels, the 19-inchers on the new Type S are 2 pounds lighter than the 18-inch wheels on standard Integras, and you can get them with a copper-colored finish that dials the style up to 11. Behind them is a braking system from Brembo. Highlights include 4-piston front calipers, finished in red of course, clamping 2-piece front rotors measuring 13.8 inches in diameter up front. Ductwork integrated into the front end keeps those brakes frosty. Before we get too far down the rabbit hole of handling, we need to talk about what's hiding under that subtly vented aluminum hood. Acura starts with the same 2-liter turbocharged VTEC 4-pot shared with the RDX, the TLX, and of course the Civic Type R. This motor can fairly be described as a modern marvel of engineering. It starts with an aluminum block with reinforced main bearing caps. The crankshaft is forged steel with micro-polished journals to reduce operating friction. High-strength steel connecting rods are heat-forged in one piece and then crack separated to boost strength and keep weight down. Up top, the oil-cooled pistons sport ion-plated rings. You've got sodium-filled exhaust valves, direct injection, a low inertia, high flow, mono-scroll turbo system, dual variable timing control, electric wastegate control, and I need to take a breath. I feel like Nicolas Cage and Robert Duvall during that scene from Gone in 60 Seconds when they're listening to the sounds of a Ferrari V12 on a boombox and freaking out. See? Told you I was old. But come on, how can you not get excited about the Integra Type S powertrain? It has a power-to-weight ratio of 10.1 pounds per horsepower and a specific output of 160 horsepower per liter. That's on point with Lamborghini's twin-turbo V8 powered SUV with the silly name. Total output comes in at 320 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque, which is nearly 50 more horsepower and 30 more torques than the other Acuras using this motor. Sidebar, we know torques is not official automotive engineering nomenclature, but Jeremy Clarkson likes to say it, so you know, in the parlance of our times, man. All that juice is routed to the front wheels via a 6-speed manual transmission only, as in no option for an automatic, dual clutch, paddle shifted, or otherwise. This aspect of the Integra Type S is incredible all by itself when you consider that the manual transmission is currently looking into the abyss of oblivion. So kudos to Acura for standing tall on saving the manual. In a nod to modern technology, this stick does have an automatic rev matching feature, but anyone watching knows it's more fun to line up the tack all by yourself, thank you very much. However, something modern about this transmission that anyone should appreciate is the leather sleeve wrapping the metal shift knob. That shift knob connects to one of the all-time best manual gearboxes, perfectly weighted and making all the right noises. Shifting an Acura manual transmission is one of life's small pleasures. But back in the day, that metal shift knob that looked so sweet hid a dark side of frostbitten hands in the winter and third-degree burns in the summer. Hence the new leather treatment. But fear not, traditionalists and masochists. The top of the knob still has an engraved shifting diagram, and Acura's optional titanium leather-free knob is ready to look dope and destroy your hands anytime. As I already mentioned, the Integra Type S is front-wheel drive, which is normally a recipe for the terrifying sensation of torque steer with this kind of power on hand. Nothing quite as exciting as the steering wheel trying to tear itself free of your grip under hard acceleration, I always say. Fortunately, Acura's engineering wizards have cooked up something special to address this. They call it the dual-axis McPherson strut suspension, and in fairness, it would be Honda engineers who take the credit here, but same team. Fitted up front, this dual-axis trickery separates the steering axis from the damper axis to insulate the steering system from the effects of all that engine power being sent to the front wheels, otherwise known as torque steer. To do so, the Type S uses a separate hub carrier with 2 extra ball joints that act as the kingpin rather than using the strut tower and lower ball joint as the steering axis. Would a double wishbone configuration be even better? Sure, but that changes the packaging and cost equation, as does all-wheel drive, which brings added weight. This dual-axis design is a clever solution, and we like it. The Type S comes standard with adaptive dampers that adjust based on drive mode selection, which runs from Comfort and Sport to Sport Plus and Individual. These dampers, along with the suspension links, bushings, springs, and anti-roll bar specs, are shared with the Civic Type R. But Acura has tweaked everything to deliver a factory hot rod that Car and Driver reports is a more fluid and settled daily driver than its high-strung Honda stablemate. To accomplish this, the Acura has less rebound damping in the shocks. As well, the electric power steering assist maps have been retuned. But that doesn't make the Integra Type S any less mighty. It'll shoot to 60 miles an hour in just over 5 seconds and pull 1.02 Gs on the skid pad. That skid pad grip is seriously impressive and translates to the kind of handling prowess needed to land the Integra Type S on Car and Driver's 10 Best list and win Road and Track's Performance Car of the Year award. It was also surely appreciated by Lonnie Unser's sub-12-minute rip up Pikes Peak last summer. The helical limited slip differential plays a hand in this, as do the Michelin Pilot Sport summer performance tires. We already mentioned the beefy brakes and lightweight wheels, but have not pointed out that Acura deleted the moonroof from the Type S in the name of chassis rigidity. And though it has no impact on how well this hottest of Integra carves corners, the center-mounted triple exhaust cannons sitting out back look fantastic. Of equal diameter, these pipes are the outlet of an active valve system, one that is ready to startle bystanders with aggressive pops, bangs, and growls in Sport Plus mode. Now, about that cabin. Wow. The heavily bolstered seats are trimmed in leather and suede with elegant contrast stitching. You can choose an all-black look, but then you'd be missing the eye-popping looks of the two-tone black and orchid white option. The red isn't so bad either. As ever, Acura avoids much in the way of optional packages with the Type S, instead stuffing it full of standard content, like a digital gauge cluster and head-up display, wireless smartphone mirroring, and a 16-speaker ELS Studio 3D stereo system sure to delight audiophiles everywhere. It even has speakers in the headliner. And don't miss the gauge cluster needles turning yellow in Sport Plus mode as a nod to the legendary Integra Type R. So does the 2024 Acura Integra Type S live up to the reputation of its forebears like the second generation GSR, the screaming Type R from the 90s, and the sweet shifting RSX Type S from 20 years ago? I believe a resounding hell and yes answers that question. Thanks for watching.